Hey, oh man, what a special night. It is a special night,
Late night dynamite, Dom.
late night dynamite with two AEW Dynamite Dudes. That's right, new logo, new title, new look. I still got the stash though,
Same
Marcus.
same stash.
Same stash, baby.
Gotta tell you,
Rocking.
wasn't crazy about it last week. Loving it this week. I
You're
don't know what
liking it this
happened.
week, huh?
Don't know what
Is
happened.
little Tom Selleck happening here, kind of Magnum PI, Magnum TA. Perhaps should I say Bobby Fish? Bobby
No.
Fish.
Nope.
No. Hey, this is Dominic DeAngelo, WrestleZone.com, and of PodcastHeat.com, and of MLW.com, and of AdFreeShows.com. I'm also
Nesha,
here.
Kayla, what's up? Thanks for
Yeah,
joining
hey
us.
guys. Yes, we are live here in Studio DeAngelo. Yeah, because it is the DeAngelo Brothers. Because I'm here with my degenerate brother, none other than Marcus DeAngelo of AdFreeShows.com, giving the old Larry Zabisco salute.
Gotta do
Marcus,
it.
you're also good at Larry Zabisco in the art of stalling and wasting people's time.
You mean like filibustering?
Yes.
Yes, that's one of my specialties, Dom.
Going for
You
the
know,
powder, baby.
if you ever need somebody distracted, I can just talk them into a corner, and you can just do whatever you gotta do. Steven Chambers, what's up, man?
Hey, so I know it's not Saturday. It's a special live one. Yes, Marcus and I brokered a deal this past weekend, and he is here doing a live tonight, a post show nonetheless of AEW Dynamite Dudes. And so, Marcus, this show hailed from Baltimore, Maryland tonight. One of the homes of ROH,
And John Harbaugh, he was there.
And Jordan Harbaugh was there. Johnny Boy.
Steven Chambers, what's up, brother? And no, it is not Saturday. I told Dominic when we were doing this, don't get used to this shit.
And I said, Marcus, you get used to it, you asshole.
Yeah, no, really, we are going to keep it primarily Saturdays, but hey, why not? We care about you guys.
Yes. Make it special. You know, this is the new version of Two Dynamite Dudes. Got to get the new look going and everything. But Marcus, yes, this was Baltimore is one of the homes of ROH, and we ended up closing the show with an ROH unification match of the interim championship and the women's championship, and it was the interim champion who is now the new champion, undisputed, Mercedes Martinez. What'd you think of this match? It got about like 9 minutes or so to close out the show. What were your thoughts?
I feel like you just said champion 17 times, so that's never
Champion.
a good thing.
Make
you know,
it 8.
whenever you're breaking down a match, if you have to say champion or championship that many times, it's probably not great. But no, I mean the match itself I thought it was great. I didn't think they did them any favors with where they were positioned on the card, to be honest. You know,
You didn't think it was Marcus, main event. What do you mean?
they didn't do them any favors by putting them in the main event. So my take on it, and hey, look, just my opinion, but you're trying to establish ROH as a brand, right? For a national audience for essentially the first time. You know, there's a very small percentage of people nationwide that are all that familiar with ROH, unless you're like a hardcore wrestling fan. Like even me personally, I knew what ROH was. I'd watch maybe 2 or 3 episodes of it, but like I don't know a ton about the history of ROH, and I think that most people are in that same position. So with that being the case, you're taking this match that you should be setting up during the show, right? In the middle of this show where they've got all these characters that they're familiar with. You put that match in the middle of the show, then all of a sudden you've got kind of like a captive audience where they're like, well, I'm going to hang in here, you know, for Hangman Page to talk or whatever it is at the end of the show. Which by the way, I think they should have closed it with that match between Wolf, what's that kid's name? Ray Fenix and what's his name?
And Dante Martin. Wow, you call him Airwolf.
Airwolf. Well, in any case, so yeah, I think that before you can start saying, hey, that's a main event match, hey, it's great, you know, it's a huge stakes ROH, you know, title, which yeah, on paper it is huge stakes, you know, it's the women's title, it should close the show, but in practice, not a good idea. Because I think that you need to familiarize the crowd. I can't guarantee it, but I'd be willing to bet that a lot of people change the channel because not a lot of people are like, what the what championship? For who? What is this? I thought Thunder Rosa was a women's champion, and then probably whatever. This is confusing, and they changed the channel. I think that really you should be trying to build an audience around ROH. Say like, hey, check it out. Here's these folks, and let me tell you about ROH a little bit during this match. You know, it's, I don't know. I don't think that they did any favors.
I mean, I can see that as a point. Yeah, and if you put this in the middle of the card and you hyped it pretty darn good beforehand, because honestly, Mark, it kind of almost, I mean, from a build of it, I kind of forgot about it throughout the night. I was excited for it because I remember like, oh, Deonna Purrazzo is going to be on the show, and you know,
And let me say again, no disrespect to those ladies. I thought they had a nice match,
yeah.
and I know who Deonna Purrazzo is. Do I think that the average wrestling fan does?
Listen, yeah, to a point, it's like, you know, you didn't have her cut a promo or anything like that. Stake her claim for the title. She's a good promo too. She's a good promo. She shows it on Impact and everything like that. And then you should get Mercedes Martinez some time to talk too, especially if she's going to win the belt, become the undisputed champ. Really set the tone for like what you want the ROH women's division to be, and everything like that. It like there was so much stuff going on throughout the evening that, yeah, I mean, it just doesn't make sense to not have them. If that's going to be your main event, you got to treat it like, hey, this main event's going to be big.
They should have at least had, like, fine, if you're gonna have it as the main event, at least give us like a promo for it the week before. You know, to kind of prime
Yeah,
people for it. I put together a video package where you're like, here's the history of this belt, and here's these women and their history, and here's why they have an issue, and all that sort of thing that invests people in storyline. It's, you know, Eric Bischoff made a really good point on Strictly Business, available exclusively on adfreeshows.com, where he does a breakdown, an in-depth breakdown of the business behind the business. It's really, really well worth listening to, guys. Eric, I knew before that Eric had genius level intellect, but now, I mean, he proves it week in and week out with Strictly Business. It's something else, so check it out. But in any case, he had said that you can't book for good matches. Booking because you want to have a good match. On paper, it's like, hey, yes, yeah, good match, but it's kind of like junk food. You need to book stories. You need to tell stories. You know, I don't want junk food. I want like a 5-course meal when it comes to entertainment. Junk food sounds great and it's great in a little pinch, but it doesn't do anything long term. I want to see these vignettes. I want to learn more about Deonna Purrazzo. I haven't seen. When's the last time we saw Mercedes on AEW TV consistently?
yeah, no, you haven't. We haven't seen her in a while, and
now
yeah.
we're closing out the fucking show with this. It doesn't make any sense.
No, I mean, it makes sense because you want it to be big, but it doesn't make sense in regards to how you built to it. You know, you want it to mean something. You want these fighters to mean something. You want them fans to associate with these two women, and both of them have the ability to do that. And yeah, they didn't get, to your point. They didn't really give them the opportunity to do that. Besides having that match at the end of the night, besides it being positioned as the main event. Other than that, it was like, where's the build and where's the stakes for the fans to get invested into?
And, you know, Nesha's saying, you know, she knew who they were, and she always watched ROH. Steven is saying wouldn't mind seeing Mercedes against Jade, and yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. If I can get to know her a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because right now I know a lot about Jade. I've seen a lot of her on TV. They've built her a while. She always gets promos. So I know Jade very well. I don't know Mercedes very well. So on paper, if they say, hey, next week Mercedes versus Jade, I'm like, oh, okay, it's like one of the girls that wrestles on AEW Dark, and Jade's going to squash her. Whereas in reality, it's like she's this badass in her own right, and I should know that about her.
Yeah, you should know that she's an ass kicker, and like even when they brought her in for like Britt Baker's group as like an enforcer, it kind of established her as like, oh, this woman's tough.
Yeah, and how fucking long ago was that, by the way? She was tough all those weeks ago, but now all of a sudden, you know, it's, if I'm not seeing her week in and week out like I am Jade, they're not telling a very good story.
No, it's yeah, and like today, it was the official day that the sale went through with the ROH to Tony Khan, and so you want to establish that brand. And like you do have Samoa Joe on there, and he cut a little bit of a promo. You have Jay Lethal on there, and he cut a little bit of a promo. But like to further hit home that ROH is Ring of Honor wrestling that fans should be familiarized with and tie their wrestling, you know, wagon to. You'd want to set that up big time. Like And besides that, it just being positioned as the main event, there could have been a lot more done with it, I would say, this evening. But yeah, it was a good match, and I love Deonna Purrazzo. She's week in and week out as a women's competitor. Like, she's tied the best string of matches I've seen, like any woman do, and Impact positioned her right. Now, kind of in that same tone, Impact, two of its talents were on the show tonight. Deonna, obviously, and now we also had W. Morrissey as the mystery opponent for Wardlow. Both of them got losses. I liked the match of Morrissey and Wardlow was over big time with that Baltimore crowd.
Yep.
So, what'd you think of all that? And then you can touch upon Morrissey here too.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I like the Forbidden Door thing. I like the fact that last week that we would have had no knowledge or thought of Morrissey coming in until MJF said something, and then bam, he's here. I think that kind of suddenness is cool. It's interesting. I don't have a problem with him taking the loss either.
No,
nope. No, certainly not against Wardlow, who they're building like fucking Goldberg for all intents and purposes. So, yeah, no issue with it. Here's the other deal: is like he is an Impact guy who's coming onto TV. So, like, obviously he was a WWE guy, went to Impact. He's been on the Indies. Now he's an Impact. So it's like he's established. Everybody knows who he is, and he looks like $1 million, by the way.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, okay, if you're Tony Khan, you can invest in somebody who's on the Impact roster by having him get a big dub over a guy like Wardlow, or are you gonna get Wardlow over more by saying, hey, this is an established dude we've seen around, and Wardlow just whooped his ass.
Yeah, from the AEW perspective, I certainly get it. From the Impact perspective, I kind of get it that you're getting one of your stars on their show, and it's like it's big time, it's big opportunity for Cass too, or Morrissey. But like, he's should be one of your top stars, and like you want to protect those stars too.
I will say, if I was Impact, I wouldn't have let them borrow him with any intention other than having him go over. It doesn't really make sense for Impact.
That's what I mean from the Impact.
I don't think it makes sense.
It makes sense from AEW's perspective, but
I don't think Impact makes a lot of sense on a regular basis. So it's
just so strange. It's so strange. Like, you'd think, okay, we're happy to, like, I think they're happy to have this relationship with AEW, but
I think that's the nuts and bolts of it, Dominic. And it's the idea that, like, hey, we're playing ball with you, so every once in a while, can you send Daniel Bryan over here to work a match? Which
maybe there's going to be a favor in return, but my favor would have been like, hey, can we kind of protect Morrissey in this situation? He's one of our top stars and everything like that. And Deonna is like is arguably your greatest women's wrestler you have on the roster. Maybe not. Well, with Taya Valkyrie, maybe had her back in there too. But I mean, it just kind of a head scratching thing on the side of Impact, where it's just like, if you're going to have somebody go in there and do the job to Wardlow, make it maybe somebody different than Morrissey or something if you're going to do that. But I see it from many aspects of the thing too, where it's a big opportunity for Morrissey. He's back on mainstream television here. And then, it's kind of in a strange way a good thing for Impact too, because they have their show on there, but they're not helping their talent in that way either.
I think more than anything, it's an opportunity for, because Impact is on Access, which not a lot of people have access to.
Mm-hmm.
So they now all of a sudden one of your talent is getting on national television that everybody's seeing, and routinely.
They didn't even say Access TV though on TNT.
Well, I don't know if that's something that they should do.
No,
really,
but I mean, like,
but if they're talking about Impact, all of a sudden fans who might not be familiar with it are maybe seeking it. So there's that argument, but also I look at it like, if I was in charge of Impact as it stands right now with the Access deal and stuff, and Tony Khan came to me and he said, hey, do you mind if I borrow one of your guys to do a job for one of my guys? I'd be like, yeah, take him, go do that, because I want to establish a really good relationship with you. So yeah,
you would have done it with Morrissey and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's I said before it was kind of a head scratcher, but as I'm sitting here thinking it out, it's like, well, why would you not do that? why would you not want to establish a relationship, a consistent working relationship with AEW? So, if one of you guys has to take an L on it, it's not like his career is over. It's not like nobody's going to take Morrissey seriously anymore whenever he makes appearances, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of fair. It is, and Wardlow's a big dude, and it's like it's Juggernaut versus Sabretooth going on there. So it's like it can make sense. Somebody's got to win, I guess, and that's kind of the thing. So, yeah, I just want to see Impact make the most of their stars, and sometimes they don't do that on their own product, and when you see it happen on a different promotion, you're just like, come on, Impact, let's get behind some of these guys, like you have like a Morrissey or a Willie Mack or who's the other guy? Well, Jake something, who's not even there anymore. It's just like put your chips behind some of your new and strong and like money looking talent. Because I tell you what, Morrissey, like you said earlier, looked like $1 million tonight.
Man, just jacked.
Yes.
Jacked, and he's 7 feet tall.
Uh-huh.
Just a great look. Dominic, Stephen Chambers said earlier, I can see Wardlow lose in Long Island. Sorry, another
In
message
Long
came
Island?
through. Yeah, lose in Long Island and Wardlow raising the stakes for pay-per-view.
I don't see that. I don't see him losing. I don't even think he's going to lose at Double or Nothing. I think he's going to be the one to beat MJF clean. Like he's going to be the first to do it.
I think you're kind of backing yourself into a corner with this whole like two undefeated people on the roster situation. Much in the same way as as with Goldberg. When is the right time, right?
Well, Wardlow's not undefeated, right?
Well, not necessarily undefeated, but this unstoppable force type mentality.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I don't know. In my mind, trying to figure out something like that, how do you put a stop to that? Really, it's going to come down to probably the best way to do it would be a debuting talent defeats them after a heel turn.
Wardlow
maybe
specifically?
Wardlow. Same thing with Jade Cargill. How do you take it off her?
I think you follow to what you were saying. You push back at what happened with Goldberg, I guess. Like Goldberg's streak didn't end the way it should have. You have somebody that you're looking to build around, beat that person, whether it's Jade or Wardlow. And
what would really, really kind of the smart thing to do is I'm sitting here working it through my brain is like somebody like, well, either one of them, you take somebody who's like a technician, like a Daniel Bryan or Serena Deeb for that matter, for the women's division. You take somebody who's a technician, you say, okay, like Wardlow's like this blunt object of a dude who can kind of take out anybody, but Bryan Danielson can out wrestle anybody. So I think that could be an easy out where it's like, hey, just contrasting styles, and Bryan Danielson just got him.
And you know what? Like, I think that's a good point too. Especially if you're gonna look to give Danielson a world title run, like have him beat Wardlow. Like, and then Wardlow won't lose anything because you're losing to Bryan fucking Danielson. So
right, like, and the announcers just have to tell the story of like, hey, it's like if this was just a straight up fight, he'd probably destroy Danielson in a few minutes, but Danielson's just too damn good of a grappler.
He's got it down. He's getting backed by Big Willie style there.
I'm not sure what you're saying, but I dig it.
Well, William Regal.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay, speaking of world title stuff, yeah, we saw Hangman Page come out and get ahead of probably the wave of reaction he's going to get come Double or Nothing, as he just immediately goes for the jugular with CM Punk, saying he's going to murder him. He's going to he doesn't care if it's going to be a Bret Hart celebratory match or anything like that. He's going for CM Punk, and he's going to take him out. Calls out a fan that has a Punk shirt on, even in the crowd. Really angling as the heel in this feud going here. Marcus, what'd you think of all that?
I thought it was smart. I thought it was the right thing to do. He's not going to get cheered by a large portion of the crowd. As you said, he kind of got out ahead of it. But also, like, I don't like baby face promos where it's just like, hey, it's because of I've been training and all the fans are behind me, and
I have respect for you.
right. I respect for you, all that stuff. It's like, as I've always said to you, Dominic, the heels that always seem to get over are the heels that have a little bit of like fuck you in them, or the baby faces that have a little bit of fuck you in them, right?
Yeah.
Or like Stone Cold, where he's just like I don't give a shit what you do. I'm gonna whoop your ass in front of all these people. I'm gonna embarrass you. Like saying very heel things like I'm gonna embarrass you. I'm gonna whoop your ass. But people like it. This is not the 70s or 80s anymore, where it's just like, you got the guy with like the hair and he like runs his hands through it, like hair on fire thing. He's like, come on,
I'm gonna fucking kill you. You understand? Motherfucker, kill me.
that shit just doesn't work anymore. And for some reason, it's a thing that's sort of made a weird little comeback. This whole like respectful, hey, everybody can, wrestling's for everybody sort of a guy, like this guy. It's like,
hey, come on, let's have a hug and get a little red grapple going.
Right? Yeah, everybody hug. It's supposed to be like, no, dude. Like, if you're not an athlete that's on my level. Like, that should be the mentality of all these baby faces that want to get over.
Yeah. So if they keep going this route with Hangman here, up until Double or Nothing, until he fights CM Punk, you think this is the right way to elevate Hangman to the position he's going to be? They want him to be at, and that we can see him at, like in certain ways.
I'd like to think so. I have a suspicion. I think a lot of people are anticipating CM Punk taking the belt off him, but I have a suspicion that Tony Khan is like, he's not getting over that much, as champion.
Okay, so you're thinking Punk might win it?
No, I think that Punk is going to do the job to help him get over.
Yeah, that's what I said last week.
Yeah. That it feels like how this thing shakes out. And I feel like Punk is one of those guys who's just like, he's kind of wrestling for fun at this point. And he's not like one of those guys who's like, I have to win. I think he would be happy to do a job to help get a younger talent over.
Yeah, totally. I think he's just loving being there and being back in wrestling, and just he's loving the work that he's doing. And so, I think
Stephen Chambers disagrees. New champion, Punk, pay-per-view. Nesha's saying Hangman will retain. Nesha's with us.
Wow. Steven says he's just not digging Hangman today, predicting new champion Punk at the pay-per-view. Yep.
I think a lot of people want it. But at the same time, again, it's junk food, right? Where now all of a sudden we just put this belt on this guy and we're like, ooh, this sucks. All right, let's try somebody else. Oh, let's try this guy that's already established. It's like, let's be patient. Let's cook a meal. Yeah. Let's not open a bag of chips. Let's cook a meal.
It's like to make the NFL Jacksonville comparison. You got Trevor Lawrence. You start off the year with a rough go of Urban Meyer or what have you, and it doesn't mean you throw out Trevor Lawrence too with Urban Meyer. You're just like, okay, hey, this is not who Trevor Lawrence is. We know what his potential is. Let's get the right people behind him and to get him in the position that we want them to win and like establish, who this top first overall pick was and was projected to be. So
if I was in charge, I would be saying, okay, a minimum of like World Heavyweight Championship, minimum 8-month run, everybody at a minimum. TNT Championship, I'll go as far as to say 3-month run. Minimum.
I'd even go 4. I wouldn't. I mean, like, 3's a little short too at this juncture.
I agree. But again, I think that Tony Khan kind of enjoys his junk food every once in a while, and he gets it with the TNT title, where he's like, yeah, let's put it on this guy. Let's fuck around and put it on that guy. Let's give it back to this guy. So, I feel like you got to set boundaries like that, because like you make your titles worthless otherwise.
Yeah, you got to preserve them. I mean, ultimately they're doing a very good job with the world title itself. Like, when it comes to, not playing hot potato with it, but you do want to position your champion in the right way. And Hangman hasn't exactly gotten that shake yet, as we've talked about for weeks on end. Far as, let's see here. Oh yeah, let's discuss probably just one of my favorite matches, because I was excited for this match, was the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament qualifier between Jeff Hardy and Bobby Fish. It opened the show, and Jeff was wearing pink in honor of Owen. And it was kind of cool to see like these two go at it. Like Fish is a pro and has his own style, and Jeff Hardy, we're well aware of what Jeff is capable of and what he does. And I tell you what, man, I wrote this on Twitter. I was like, if you are a babyface and want to see how to grab hold of a crowd, you watch a Jeff Hardy match. And I think this was one to watch, like his ability to sell and like that crowd was electric for him, like and fighting from underneath and all that stuff for a good amount of the match. And like it really charged a crowd up for like, an opening match. I could even seen this one main event basically, if you positioned it right. Like so, but this was a good opener too. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see Jeff Hardy in this mix because we recorded the Matt Hardy podcast today, and there was a note that Jeff's actually the only person in this tournament to actually face Owen Hart. So that's kind of interesting too.
Oh, that's wild.
How about that, huh?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, good match. I thought that both guys looked good, and they told a good story. I would say that the only issue I had was it was pretty telegraphed as far as who's going to win, right? It's like
not necessarily.
Did you think for a second that anybody? Did you think for a second that anybody other than Jeff Hardy was going to face Darby Allin in this tournament?
I mean, I honestly didn't know. I mean, because I had like some doubts in my head when it started because number one, Adam Cole came out on commentary, so just like some shit could happen where Cole plays some chicanery, and then we get a feud going between Cole and the Hardys and all that stuff, and maybe that's what they'll go with instead of Hardy being a focus in on the tournament. So I had that suspicion in my head.
Filibuster, Dom. My cat's going insane up there. I'll be right back.
Uh-oh. And so that made me start thinking maybe Fish could end up winning this out of it, and then they're going to tell the story of, Red Dragon and Cole all being in the tournament together or something like that. So they caused me to give a little doubt, and I'm sure maybe that was a little bit intentional too, to have Cole come out in commentary and create that doubt in fans' minds. But yeah, I wasn't totally like bought into that. Jeff is going to win this match. Now, obviously, you could see a lot of that happening. You could see it happening, but I wasn't totally sold on it either up until that juncture. So, I could have been swayed for sure. Let's see. Yeah, Jeff Hardy versus Darby is going to be an awesome match. I definitely agree with that. I'm very excited for that. We'll talk about the tournament here in a second. But yeah, Mark, they created some doubt for me, I would say.
I mean, no, to me, I knew as soon as they showed Darby Allin up in the stands, I was like, oh yeah, he won. So Jeff Hardy's going to win as soon as I saw him. Just because it's, what does the casual fan want to see? What's more entertaining? You want to see Jeff and Darby.
Yeah.
That's where the money is. It's what's more entertaining. And here's the thing too: is they're both baby faces. So when else are they going to face? This tournament's really the only opportunity.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Because what will create the story where you have these two guys go at it, especially if they're both on the babyface track and everything like that.
Ooh, Steven Chambers, a man after my own heart here. Who's going to be the Joker wrestling Samoa Joe? Hoping Davey Boy Smith Jr. Whew.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah,
I would love it.
I saw that at the bottom, and I was like, that'd be pretty damn cool. Because I told you this like weeks ago was like Davey Boy Smith, his 2000, I believe 19. I think he was the wrestler of the year from an in-ring perspective. Like match in and match out every week, he like wrestled so many different styles against so many different opponents and so many different styles of matches. And I so like to get Harry Smith in on that mix would be fucking cool.
I just started grinning because I was thinking, so what if it's Joker Sting?
I'm coming for you, Darby.
Oh, God, that would be really funny.
Well, before we break down,
I'll tell you, I would kind of be here for it if he did it.
Yeah, would you?
If he did the Joker Sting gimmick and came after Samoa Joe, especially because they're both TNA guys.
Is there anybody else like that would really like? Ooh, I got it.
Cesaro,
yeah.
Yeah, that would be my number one choice. And honestly, the guy, if you were to do that, he's got to win the whole tournament.
He would have to at least very much go to the finals.
Yes, and like I'm picturing Darby Allin going to the finals on one side, and I would love to see a finale with Darby Allin and Cesaro, and Cesaro just flinging him up in the air and hitting him with that uppercut. Holy shit!
Yeah, I mean that would be bad, man. I know. I mean, just the nostalgia slash fan in me here wants to see Jeff go the distance though too. So
There's zero chance that Jeff does the job for Darby Allin, or doesn't do the job for Darby Allin. Yes.
I don't know. I don't know if there's zero chance, Mark.
Zero chance.
I don't know. Okay, well let's get into that. Let's get into here the tournament itself. It was announced it's Darby Allin versus Jeff Hardy in the opening round, Adam Cole versus Dax Harwood, Samoa Joe versus the Joker, and Kyle O'Reilly versus Rey Fenix, who had a great match with Dante Martin tonight.
Steven Chambers just nailed it for the Joker, by the way.
Yeah, who do you say?
Miro.
Oh, that could be it.
I think that's going to be who it is.
Okay, and Joe versus Miro would be a good opener too. Damn.
Could you imagine?
But would you? I mean,
who goes over?
Joe, yeah, who goes over? That's the issue. Mm-hmm. Who goes over Joe and Cesaro though too? You don't want Joe to job out too. But like, I think that's the fact that it is a Joker. It's almost like an indication that okay, Joe's going to lose in this opening round, maybe. Right?
Yeah, and here's the thing: he's also feuding with Jay Lethal, so you could have that out. Yeah, you could have Lethal come out and kick him in the head or something,
or that Satnam Singh do something.
Yeah.
So, okay, that makes sense.
It just doesn't look right to my eyeballs when I see Jay Lethal and that guy. And then
Sanjay Dutt.
Yeah, actually, Sanjay Dutt and Jay look right together. I don't know. It's just like that dude in the background. I'm like, why? What? It's where was the relation? It's not good storytelling. Where's the relationship formed?
I would have liked to see this guy, Satnam Singh, just kind of be a lone wolf.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with the dude. I think I'm like, he's a massive dude. There's money in him. He looks scary. I think he's a good fit in pro wrestling. But like, why? Where's the story behind? How did this pairing happen? Like,
I'm with you on that.
Just doesn't make any fucking sense.
I would very much like Satnam Singh, like, because I was telling on another show here and stuff. Like Satnam Singh, like he doesn't move like a Giant Gonzalez or like a fucking
Great Khali.
Or Great Khali. He moves like he's got some fluidity to him, like and a presence to him that he's like he knows how to handle himself on camera.
Dude's an athlete.
Yeah. And so I mean, like he could stand to be on his own or like have a manager or something, but I'm kind of with you. It's like it doesn't kind of match up. They got to make this make a little more sense here, but I'm not totally out on everything though with it either. So, I mean, I don't think it's like super glaring or anything like that.
No, I mean, like it's not horrible, but it just goes back to the whole like, hey, we've got so many people. How do we fit them all together? You know, like Angelico with Butcher and Blade. It's like that's weird. Okay, I guess they're friends.
Just have the office ties because it was Angelico and oh my god, why am I blanking on? Jack Evans.
Mm-hmm.
And he's no longer with AEW, by the way.
And also, by the way, I like Angelico. I think he's fun, and the fact that he's like a submission specialist, it's not a thing that we get to see a lot. So yeah, I like Angelico a lot. But I kind of wish he'd work under a hood. But that's my only complaint. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be bad. Yeah, you could make him.
James, what's up?
All right, we got some more folks coming on in.
Dom, James said, "Hey guys, what would you think of Cesaro joining a Blackpool Fight Club?" Kind of makes sense on paper. I was thinking this tonight. How interesting would it have been if, and I don't have an issue with Wheeler Yuta, but how interesting would it have been if instead of Wheeler Yuta, it was Samoa Joe? Samoa Joe, John Moxley. And
I think
Bryan
you need
Danielson.
A younger guy in there, honestly.
I know you're trying to put over the younger talent, but the selfish part of me is just like, man, that's interesting.
Yeah. This is kind of a curveball. This just occurred to me because like we've been talking about Cesaro and how, he could fit in the mix of everything. And I mean, how kind of neat would it be if like William Regal had been talking up all these Blackpool Fight Combat Club, Mox and Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta. What if he fucking turned on him already and just joined with Cesaro? And he like has his own force going against that. I don't know.
I don't know. I think if you're gonna put Cesaro with anybody, it should be either Jake Roberts or Arn Anderson.
Arn would be good.
Yeah.
Arn would be good. I let's do that, Marcus. I'm more with that.
And have FTR join their little faction.
Ooh, that would be good too.
And Serena Deeb, and I'm done.
And yeah, what'd you think about that? Hey, we got Deeb versus Rosa, double or nothing.
That's you know how I feel.
I know.
And by the way, I thought they both gave really nice promos. Deeb has got this very straightforward, like I'm the best in the world kind of attitude, which I think is fun. And I think that Thunder Rosa's got enough like fun in her.
Yes.
And interesting, like she's interesting enough. And by the way, she does something that you don't see a lot in back and forth promos, where like a lot of people just wait for the other person to be done talking and then they talk.
She'll fire back.
She's talking in the middle of it, and I'm like, that's fascinating.
And that's how people talk and go back with one another.
Well, and if you've ever seen a fight start to break out, or if you've ever started to break out into a fight with somebody where you're at the part where you're like starting to talk shit to each other, it's like you don't wait for the dude to quit talking.
Yeah.
You know, if the person says something, you're saying something right back instantly. Yeah.
Like, who the fuck you think you are?
Right.
No, but I thought she had some cool, like, genuine connection with folks and the crowd and stuff like that, and the playfulness, like you kind of said. I thought it was good, you know.
Yeah. No, the sky's the limit. Thunder Rosa.
They're gonna put on a hell of a match.
Honestly, might be the match of the night.
I'm excited for that one. They got some pretty cool stuff set up, and that whole tournament's going down. I think at Double or Nothing. Like I don't think that unless they do, because how many matches are there? 4. Yeah, 4 opening matches. So then 2. So maybe they'll do like 2 of them. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna set it up, but I'm pumped for it. It's a good bracket.
You know, I have never bought an AEW pay-per-view, but I would like to buy this one just because of that match.
Yeah. Hey, it could be a tax write-off for you,
I guess. Jaleel Lewis, who do you think Nyla Rose fell off her game? What is that?
Who do you think Nyla Rose fell off her game? Do you think Nyla Rose fell off her game?
Oh, okay. Is she off her game a little bit? I think more than off her game, I think that she again is a victim of there's a lot of talent to feature. Where like, you know, so for a while there was Vicky Guerrero and her, and they were kind of taking over and intense and it's fun. But the same thing is happening with her that's been happening with Lance Archer and Jake the Snake, which is they'll appear and they make a challenge and they're in an angle for a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then they're gone after they lose. Right. Yeah. And that same thing keeps happening over and over again with both of them. And it's not doing anybody any favors.
Yeah.
And again, it's this fucking junk food mentality where it's like, hey, we need a match. What's a good match? Perfect. Let's pair those people up without any focus on storytelling.
And I think what's happening probably is like, okay, hey, I want to like give these guys and gals the opportunity to be on television. I appreciate them being here, but I'm not like you're saying it's junk food where in the fact that they're here for a little bit and then they're gone again. And then, you know, hey, we'll pull them out later on and stuff like that, where it's just, it has diminishing returns in a lot of ways with that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I think I think those are very good comps with one another, Nyla and Lance. Who I like both of them. And I think both of them have potential to get a lot of stuff done. It's I mean, with Nyla, it's, you know, I like Vicky and I like her. I don't know if I think they'd be better apart, you know, where like you put Vicky in a different talent and you have Nyla go on her own tear and cut her own promos and do her own thing.
I just think it's prioritizing. It's prioritizing your talent.
Yeah.
You know, where find ways to get more people featured. Really, you know, if you look back at WCW back in the day, I thought that they did a really nice job of storytelling, by and large. You know, certainly during the Monday Night Wars they did, but really it feels like a part of their formula was maybe about 6 storylines going at once.
Yeah.
And each of them had a lot of focus. And there were players that would come in and out of these storylines, where as opposed to like, hey, we haven't seen this person wrestle in a while. Let's give a match with this person who we also haven't seen in a while, and then we'll see him again in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to see more consistency. Steven Chambers, same example. Ruby Soho, since losing to Baker.
She's been on Dark, and now she's back on Dynamite for a couple weeks now.
And this is a person you're kind of making a pretty big investment in, a person that's very well known.
Yeah.
So what is going on, Dom?
I tell you what, here's how you redeem yourself with Ruby Soho: is you make her win the Owen Hart tournament on the women's side.
But then what?
But then you have her in the mix as a top star. Like, it can necessarily, maybe she's the one to unseat Jade Cargill. I know she lost to Jade already, but you can build Ruby Soho into that next person too. It could maybe make sense in that regard. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go right away to that. Like, Ruby Soho wins the Owen Hart tournament. She gets into a feud with another top women's star, maybe that you're bringing in or that you want to establish further. Maybe she starts combating against Toni Storm, who she's partners with or something like that. But then, you have Jade still continue her run as the TBS champion until her and Ruby collide with one another once again. And then you have Ruby get the win. And then you establish a feud of, hey, they still got to have a rubber match.
Well, Nesha feels that Ruby should beat Jade. Dom, Jaleel saying, thoughts on Keith Lee? Is he going to be a tag team guy or singles run guy? I think he should be a singles run guy. I like him better that way. But again, only so many quarter hours, Dominic. We say it every week. There's only so many quarter hours, and now they've got all this talent to feature, and it's like, well, Swerve is new. Keith Lee is new. It's how do we fit all these pieces together?
How do you fit all these pieces, man? There can only be so many surprises until you're just like, okay, we gotta focus.
Yeah.
And
here's the thing is, like, you could even say, like, well, AEW's been doing, they let some talent contracts expire, so there's more room. They let contracts expire of talent that haven't been featured on the main roster.
Yeah.
So you're not doing anything for your AEW Dynamite programming. You're not opening up any lanes.
Yeah, no, you have to, because like you think about it, we didn't see Scorpio Sky this week. We didn't see, who else was there that, like, there's so many talents that you have to make note of that you can't do justice to week in, week out. And even it happens for a couple weeks. And I think, like, if you're doing that, if a talent's gone for like 2 weeks and you don't like acknowledge them or have anything, that's a problem where it's just like, okay, we didn't see anything from Scorpio Sky this week, but should we see maybe like a promo or him to do something like where it's just like, or you just even note, hey, Scorpio Sky won, they're off celebrating somewhere, and even just do a screenshot of him, like almost like when the fucking Odell Beckham was on the boat, or whatever.
I think what it's really coming down to is we're gonna have to have a brand split soon. They're coming they're coming up on that kind of territory.
Oh, very much so. I think it's very much due.
Thing is, you're gonna have to put one of your big stars, one of your big draws on Rampage if it's gonna stand a chance. So that would be taking somebody like CM Punk and putting him on Rampage exclusively to get people to tune in.
Yeah, so you would turn Rampage into an ROH show? Is that kind of what you mean? Or would you mean, you're splitting Rampage with Dynamite?
Well, no. Why not? My initial thought there was like, well, you split it into Rampage and Dynamite, but really turning it into ROH on Friday nights makes a little bit more sense. Make it seem like
Rampage, you already have a fucking alliteration there.
Sure. And yeah, I would put somebody like Punk on it to kind of help put it over the top.
Yeah, I would get maybe I think the Blackpool Combat Club would make more sense even, because you got Danielson, you got Mox, you got Wheeler, and then you have you got Hook. Hook's really, I think Hook's going to be the Rampage guy. He's already got it, establishing himself as a Rampage guy.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's it's time to put on the old thinking cap over there.
Yep. Hope they're brainstorming around the table here. Hey, we brainstormed pretty good tonight, didn't we?
We did, yeah. 44 minutes. I'd say it's pretty good on a weeknight.
Yeah, right. I gotta work. I gotta sling produce tomorrow. bright and early. Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Dominic, let's do the old sign off, pal.
yeah, what's crack-a-lacking over there at Ad Free Shows there, Marcus?
So much going on. Not sure if you guys have heard about Top Guy Weekend. It's going to be in Chicago. Dominic and I are both going to be there. But it's a major event in Chicago in September. And yeah, it's going to be a massive event. All these talent you get all this exclusive access to guys like Kurt Angle, Jeff Jarrett, Arn Anderson, Eric Bischoff, Tony Schiavone, JR. The list goes on and on, pal. And not to mention all the special guests that we have. We're also partnering it with some live wrestling. So it's a really big deal. If you're not a member at adfreeshows.com, go and check it out at adfreetrial.com. But the only way that you can come be part of this is if you sign up as a top guy over at adfreeshows.com. And let me tell you, every single top guy who has signed up and has been a member for a while, they say all the time, best decision I've ever made as a wrestling fan is becoming a part of this. So I would encourage you to give it a shot, think it over, check out adfreetrial.com, and that's the tip of the iceberg, pal, on what's going on with Ad Free Shows. What's up with you, Dom?
Yeah, no, just doing this day in history over at Ad Free Shows. Subscribe at the lowest tier if you'd like, and you get every day in your newsletter. You get the newsletter of Wrestling with History. Today was Fit Finlay winning the television title against Booker T, which set up the best of 7 series between Booker T and Chris Benoit.
Arn Anderson considers those some of the greatest matches he's ever seen.
Dude, they were so fun.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I remember being invested into Booker T and to Benoit and into that television title at that point in time. Like, we're talking about titles meaning something. That really established the television title as something cool.
If Arn Anderson is putting over that series of matches, and it's like, ordinarily guys are like, oh, well, Steamboat and Flair, they mention all these really high profile matches. It's like, man, some of the best matches I've ever seen. But Arn Anderson is talking about matches very obscure that happened on Nitro, not on pay-per-view. Well, I think the blow-off was pay-per-view, but most of them happened on Nitro, and Arn Anderson was like, man, those matches are unbelievable.
Yeah, they're really good. They're really good. So that was fun to write about. One's already in the holster tomorrow for you guys. But yeah, you can get those over at Ad Free Shows. You can, check out the upcoming shows. Oh, You Didn't Know with Road Dogg. He's talking about the return of DX happening there.
2013 or 2014?
2013. The return of New Age Outlaws 2013.
Yes.
So, yeah, and that's a hell of a fun run. I was so pumped for that when I was back in Philadelphia there. I remember watching it. I went to the show. I went to one of the shows. It was Raw or SmackDown, and they were there. But yeah, check that out. Matt Hardy's, speaking of Owen Hart Foundation Tournament here, next episode of Extreme Life will be focused on Owen Hart. And Matt Hardy wrestled Owen Hart about 4 times. I think 2 singles matches and then 2 tag matches, I believe.
Wow.
He's got some stories to share about Owen. And, then Jeff wrestled Owen too. So lots of good stuff there. Really profound thoughts by Matt, who's also a family man, and he brings that up too, because Owen was a strong family man too. So tune into that this Friday. You can also get those early on adfreeshows.com. But as far as WrestleZone goes, we got some good stuff cooking over there too. Some new interviews happening and popping up on there. And yes, so if you'd like, follow WrestleZone on Twitter at WrestleZone.com. Follow me on Twitter at Dominic DeAngelo. Follow Marcus over there at Marcus P. DeAngelo on Twitter. And go to WrestleZone.com for wrestling news needs. But yes, thanks for joining us, guys. Nesha, yeah, the unexpected thing was Marcus made a bargain with me, and that's why we're here this evening. So
here we find ourselves.
So maybe we'll do this once in a while, but it'll mostly be Saturdays happening.
Yes.
So, yes.
Thanks to everybody for joining us. Stephen, James, Nesha, Jaleel. We've got a bunch of people that jumped in. Yes, James. So really appreciate all you guys joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on 2 AEW Dynamite Dudes.
Yeah, see you guys. Marcus nailed it. Wow, good job.